Good morning, class. My name is Mr. Inserrano, and today we're going to be continuing our football unit. For today, just a few safety concerns. Make sure your shoes are tied. Make sure you're watching where you're going. Be aware of your surroundings. You don't want to run into anybody. If a ball goes on the other team's court or the other team's game and it interrupts, just ask them politely. Just grab the ball. Just ask for a ball call, and they'll stop the game, give you your ball back, and then you guys will continue. So today, like I said before, we're continuing football. So last class we had Dom give us a great lesson on offense, and it was more geared towards the offensive part of the game. Today we're going to be going over more of the defensive part of the game. So for today, we're going to be focusing on what a defensive back, or also known as a DB, does, and we're going to focus on playing games and strategizing within those games. So for the first thing we're going to do today, we're going to do a 6-on-6 game. So I'll get you in the teams of 6. And you guys are going to go to a court. So we're going to have 2 games going on. We're going to play as if we're in Brockport's Tuttle North gyms. So we'll do one game going on one court, another game going on the other court. And we'll do 6-on-6. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers and a quarterback, and there's going to be 5 defensive backs along with a rusher or a counter. So the idea is for the counter or the rusher, you get 3 Mississippi as a quarterback to throw the ball. So you can either throw the ball to a receiver or you take a sack. So as a rusher, you're counting 3 Mississippi in your head or out loud. I'd prefer out loud because then everyone knows that you're not cheating. Count 3 Mississippi, and then once you count to 3 Mississippi, you can attempt to rush the quarterback. Once those 3 Mississippis are up and the rusher attempts to rush the quarterback can't run past the line of scrimmage and try to get a first down. So the point of the game is you have to throw the ball to a receiver or take a sack. So it's up to you. The other big rule for the game is there are no running plays. You have to throw the ball every single time. So there should be no rushing. There should be no running backs. It's all passing for today. Okay? You get 4 downs to get a first down. I'm pretty sure you guys know know how that works. A touchdown today is going to be worth 7 points. So if you get a touchdown, it's not worth 6, it's worth 7. We'll get the extra point automatic today. You're welcome. Also, if a touchdown or an interception is made, so there's a change of possession, the other team is going to get the ball. Now, on offense, so that we remember what we're doing, the next time you go on offense after a change of possession, you're going to try to remember what spot you were in. Because what we're going to do is you're going to rotate from left to right as a wide receiver. So you're going to go from wide receiver 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Then you're going to become the quarterback. It's on a diagram. Excuse me. Woo! It's on a diagram, so you'll know what to do. In real life, I would be able to show you and give you an example. But for today, can't really do that. So just for today, you're going to be doing that. And then as a defensive back, you're going to be man-to-man with whatever wide receiver you're covering for today. So you'll be matched with one person on the other team, and then you're going to rotate with them so that you're matched up equally throughout the entire game. Okay? So now I'd get everyone into teams, give them a court, give them a ball, and get them going. So I'd let them play for a little while, depending on how much time we have. And then I would stop them. So I'd tell everyone freeze. Everyone bring it in really quick. So the question I would ask them is a rhetorical question. And the question would be, is there like a specific place that you think you should be looking when you're either attempting to just play defense in general or when you're attempting to make an interception on the quarterback? Do you think there's somewhere you should look specifically, or maybe from that game that maybe taught you where to look as a hint when you're trying to make an interception? That'd be a rhetorical question. So now we would move on, and I would say, so for this part, we're going to break it down into a practice game or more of a skill development type of thing. So I would ask a couple of questions. So I would say, as a defensive back, what do you want to watch, or we're going to try to when you're going to try to intercept the pass, what are you going to be watching? So the anticipated response would be the quarterback and the ball. So while you're doing that, you're also going to want to make sure you know where your receiver is at all times. Most of the time, they're going to say, watch the quarterback or watch the ball. That's great. And then you also want to keep in mind that you don't want to lose your receiver who you're defending. Another question would be, what do you look at in the quarterback? So when the quarterback's standing in the pocket, what are you looking at? And usually you're looking for, as an anticipated response, you're looking for his eyes and his head movement and his preparation to throw the ball. So again, that would be an anticipated response. And I would say, yes, that's correct. And then also you're going to want to make sure you give an anticipated adjustment to what he's doing or what she's doing as the quarterback. So if the quarterback's looking one way or looking the other way, you're going to anticipate where they're looking. So it's really, that's what defense is all about. It's about anticipation. And then once you feel an anticipation, you attempt to make a pick or you make a nice play on defense, and that's usually how it works. The last question I would ask is, what do you want to read or notice about the pass? Like, what do you want to see when you see the ball in flight? What are you looking for? And the anticipated response would be when the ball is in the air, if it's thrown softly or lightly, or if it's in the air for a long period of time, or if it's a bullet pass and it's out in front of the receiver. You're going to be looking for that when you're anticipating an interception or making a play on the ball. Okay, so right now I'd get them into teams, and I would put them in groups of 6. So what they'd be doing is they'd be breaking it down into groups of 6 with 1 center, 1 quarterback, 2 wide receivers, and then 2 defensive backs. And again, this is on a diagram, and I'd be able to explain it better if we were in a gym, but we are not. So that's how it would work out. We have a center who would snap the ball when the quarterback says go. Then you have the wide receivers on both sides of the quarterback running whatever routes they want. And you have the 2 defensive backs playing defense against those wide receivers. Now, again, those wide receivers can run whatever routes they want. It's up to them. It's up to the defensive backs to make a play on the ball and make an interception. So the point of the game is to make a pick. If you can, great. If not, try to make an adjustment and try to get it next time. So again, the rotation would be, you'd go from, and this is tough to explain in person through a video rather than in person, but there'd be a rotation that everyone would get to each spot twice before we move on to the next task. So I'd break it down. I'd get 6 people to a group, distribute them to each court, and then get that whole thing going, give all that feedback, all that good stuff. Let them practice, really work on making plays on the ball as a defensive back, and focus on making interceptions. So I'd let them play for a little while. I'd also be checking the time, notice how much time is left in the lesson, and then I'd eventually break it down. I'd say freeze, hold it up, bring it back, and so hopefully they're thinking about these things in their head, the questions I asked them before this task, and they have some answers. But we're not going to get to that yet. The next thing we would do is, okay, so right now we would get into the game with the same teams that we played in the beginning of the class. So where they're playing the 6-on-6 game, and you'd go to your same groups, and you'd say that you'd play the same game. So then the other thing I would say is, while you're playing this game, you're going to want to focus on what you were thinking about during that practice test that we just did, and incorporate it into the game. So whatever you learned or what you think you might have learned, try to incorporate it into the game. Okay, and then I'd break them down, get them to their games, get them to their teams, let them play. I'm sorry, before I do that, big part right here, messed this up. Too late in the video to go back. I noticed Levi did that the other day. That's actually kind of funny. But I would just say freeze, hold up, bring it back before you guys start playing. One new rule for this game, for the final game of the day, is every interception you get is worth 2 points. So if you're on defense and you make an interception, that'll be 2 points added to your total score. So as we said before, a touchdown is worth 7 points. So if you are at 14 points, you got 2 touchdowns, you get a pick, you'll be at 16 points. Do some math, right? Little literacy component. If you get a touchdown off of an interception, that'll be worth 2 points for the interception plus the 7 points for the touchdown. So you have the pick 6, that'll be a 9-pointer right there, big swing around, and a big momentum shift possibly in the game. But again, the idea is to get an interception when you can, get those 2 points, and change the game up a little bit. Now I would let them go play. Depending how much time is left, let them play for how much time is left. And then once it's time, bring them in, and we'll close it down. And I'd say great job, depending on how good they did. I'd say good job today. Saw a lot of good things. Got a couple questions before we go. The first question would be, is it better to be patient or is it better to be aggressive when you're making an interception or playing defense? Do you think it's a better idea to be patient or aggressive? The anticipated response could go one of two ways. It can go either patient or aggressive, because depending on how you play or depending on your history, you might be a patient person, you might be an aggressive person. But for today, the answer that I'm looking for, it's better to be patient when you're playing defense, because you don't want to make an interception or attempt to make an interception and then miss. Because if you miss, chances are that's a touchdown going the other way. So you want to be patient, or as patient as you can be, and be smart when you're attempting an interception. The second question would be, when you're reading the quarterback or you're watching the quarterback as he's preparing to throw, what are you looking at? And the question is kind of similar to before, but the anticipated response would be, you're looking at his head movement, you're looking at his or her body movement, or where they're standing, where they're looking, and you anticipate based on that. The last question would be, what are you looking at when the ball is in the air? Would it be a better idea to attempt an interception when the ball is in the air for a long amount of time and it's thrown kind of softly? Or is it better to attempt an interception on defense if the ball is thrown as a bullet pass and it's out in front of the wide receiver? And what would be a better idea as far as picking the ball off in that situation? The anticipated response would be when the ball is thrown in the air for a longer amount of time and it's thrown kind of softly, because you're giving yourself a better chance to catch up to the ball, or if you're already caught up to the ball, to jump in front of the wide receiver, make that pick, take off, go the other way. So that would be what I have for today's class. I'd hope in real life this would work, assuming it would. But again, kind of tough not being able to do this in class, because this would be a fun one. But it is what it is. So hopefully you got a lot from this video, and hope everyone's staying safe, and take care.